Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. I'm Susie from Susie's Room for Crochet and I'm here today with a short little tutorial on how to make a pink ribbon which is for breast cancer awareness. So if you'd like to make one of these little bows with me, which is also a badge, grab some pink and white yarn. I'm using Aran weight yarn and a 3.5mm crochet hook. You will also need a pair of scissors, a darning needle and a safety pin. So let's get started. So to start off, we're going to make a slip knot. And make sure you leave a good 5 inches, 6 inches of yarn so you've got enough to sew in at the end. We're then going to chain 35. So 1, 2, 3, 4. You continue on making your chains, and when you reach 35, meet me back here to show so I can show you what to do next. Okay, I've got my 35 chains. When you have your 35 chains, what we're going to do next is just do another chain 1, which is going to be our turning chain, and then turn your chains over, and on the back you can see you have these little back bumps, so like here, here, here. So what you're going to do is skip the first chain, which is the turning chain, and in the back of the second chain you're going to insert your hook through that back loop and do a single crochet. I'm talking in US terms. And then into the next back bump, single crochet, and you're going to do this all the way along your chain, single crocheting into the back bump of your stitch, and when you get to the end of your chain you should have 35 stitches. So work your way along and I will meet you back at the end to show you what we're going to do next. Okay, I'm almost to the end of my row. I've got 1 stitch left, so I'm going to insert my hook into the back bump and place single crochet in my last stitch, and that's how you should be looking at the end of your first row. So now what you're going to do is a chain 1 and turn your work, and we're going to place a single crochet in every stitch along, making sure you go into that first stitch here and place your first single crochet, and then single crochet all the way along until the end of this row. And at the end of this row you should still have 35 stitches. So single crochet your way along, and just before I get to the end I will meet you back here and show you how we're going to finish this row and begin the next. Okay, I'm almost to the end. I've got 2 more stitches. This is going to be my last single crochet. So finish the stitch, then pull up a loop and snip your yarn maybe 5 inches down, so you're left like that. Then what you're going to do is insert your hook through those 2 loops of the stitch like that. Grab your white yarn and just pull that through those 2 loops, so you're left with a stitch like that, and then just do a chain 1 and pull that pink yarn. And then what you can do is just tie these 2, just give it a little tie to keep it secure. And what we're going to do now is we're just going to work slip stitches all the way around. So go into that first stitch and do a slip stitch, and then into the center there and do a slip stitch, and then when you come to the corner, insert your hook into that corner stitch and do a slip stitch, and then do a chain 1 and go back into that same space and do a slip stitch, so that you get this nice little corner finish. And then just go into each of your stitches along here and slip stitch all the way along. like this, just inserting your hook into one of the loops and slip stitch through that loop and slip stitch. So work your way along, all the way along until you get to the end here, and I will meet you back to show you what we're going to do next. Okay, I'm almost to the end of this row. I've got one stitch left here, which I'm going to slip stitch into, then do a chain one and go back into that same stitch with a slip stitch to make your nice corner. Go into the center stitch here and slip stitch, and then into that first stitch there and slip stitch, chain one, and back into that same stitch to slip stitch, and then off you go again, just doing your slip stitches all the way along, just going into that, like not this loop, the one behind, just slip stitching all the way along. And when I get to the end of this row, I will just show you how to finish off the final corner. So meet me back here just before you get to the end of your row. Okay, so I'm almost at the end here. I've got 2 more stitches to slip stitch into. Go into the last stitch, slip stitch, do a chain one and pull your yarn up to about 5 or 6 inches and snip. And then we're going to finish this off with our darning needle. So just grab your darning needle and thread that up. That's not going very well. Let's try again. Okay. So take your darning needle and just go straight through that first stitch that you did at the beginning, and that just finishes that corner off. And then turn your work onto the other side, and you're going to just sew this end in. So just go through these white stitches a few times. I'm not sure if I've got that on camera. Just go up and down a few times. And then back the opposite way. And then one more time the other way. And that should be okay for that end. And then what you've got to do is sew all these ends in the same. So let's just take this pink one. Thread this needle again. And then just go through your work. Just placing the needle through a few stitches in a few different directions. It's one way, the other way, and back down this way. Let's give it a little pull and snip. I'm going to do my other 2 ends off camera, and then I'll be back to show you how we're going to finish off this bow. Okay, I'm back. I've sewn in my ends, and now what you're going to do is fold your ribbon into place like that. Make sure you get it nice and even. And then you need about a 12-inch piece of pink yarn. I've threaded my needle already, so what you're going to do is just go through the back, right, and come out here, and then back down that way. Just pull that tight and do that once more. So that keeps that in place. Maybe just do it one more time to keep it really nice and secure. Just pull it nice and tight. So you've got the shape of your ribbon there, then turn it over. And what you're going to do is take your safety pin. So you want the side that doesn't open. Hold it in place there. And you're just going to go through the first back layer of the ribbon and just sew that on. Just going through one end and coming out the other, and do that along your safety pin. Pulling nice and tight to keep it all nice and secure. Go up, pull it nice and tight, and then back down a few times till you feel like it's secure enough. And then what you can do is just tie these two ends a few times. I usually do 3, 1, 2 and 3, and then just give a snip, and there you have your pin in place and your bow looking lovely on the other side. So I hope you've been able to follow along with me, and I hope you've enjoyed this little tutorial. And I'm going to upload this onto my YouTube channel as well, which is at Susie's Room for Crochet. So if you'd like to follow me there, you're very welcome. And I will see you all again soon in another tutorial. Thank you all so much for watching. Have a lovely afternoon. Bye for now.